the only supplies that you need are a pen, a stack of paper, and a pegboard. Now, pegboard is just a technical term. Really, all it does is it is just something that you use to keep your frames of animation in place. So in this instance, I just used a binder that I found at Walmart. So kids, if you go and you search through your parents' office, you're probably going to find a binder that can hold your drawings in place. Before we begin the actual animation process, I think it's important for us to explain how animation works. So if we were to take several pictures, one of my arm like this, one of my arm like this, and then a final picture of my arm like this, and we ran it together, then it would look very smooth, like animation. So all animation is just segmented motion divided over pictures. Before we actually begin our animation process, I want to emphasize the importance of staying organized while you are animating. So in this instance, I am going to draw a 1 on the lower right-hand corner of my first slide. The 1 is very small and it is very unobtrusive. And it's just so that way you can keep your frames organized whenever you are animating. Because I've ran into the circumstance so many times where I have just like a bunch of similar looking drawings and pieces of paper, and you know, I have no idea which frame is which. So today we are going to be drawing a bouncing ball, and we are going to divide it over 10 frames or 10 different pictures. One of the cool things about us drawing a bouncing ball is that we are going to start it on frame 1 at the top left-hand corner of the frame, and then by frame 5, we know that we want to be in the bottom center of the frame, and then by frame 10, we know that we want to be in the top right. So that way you can easily divide your frames, and you know that you need to scoot your drawing. In this case, we're going to be drawing a ball along a arc that is split into fifths, going down and then going back up. I think we should go ahead and start our first drawing of our first frame. So I'm just going to draw a ball at the top left-hand corner here. And I think personal expression is super important, and I really like smiling. Smiling is a big part of my life. So we're just going to do a nice little smiley face like that. And as you can see, the circle, the drawing isn't really all that perfect, but like, you know, whatever. I think that it is super important to allow yourself the freedom to make mistakes sometimes, because you know your art is just a reflection of you, and not everyone's perfect. So we will be right back after this commercial break and go through the rest.
God, it's so cold.
I know, I can't even feel my toes anymore.
Me too, my feet are freezing. I can't take it anymore.
Hey guys, have you tried Toasty Toes? They'll cure your woes.
No. What are Toasty Toes?
Toasty Toes are socks that instantaneously warm up your feet whenever they sense cold temperatures.
Wow, they really work. Thanks, Toasty Toes.
Hey, y'all. Welcome back to the show. So we were just in the middle of drawing our first frame of animation, and now that we have drawn our first frame of animation, it's important for us to start the second frame of animation. So in doing so, we are just going to load our paper into our pegboard by opening up the brads, clipping it in, making sure that it is secure and that the paper doesn't move. And then we will go to start drawing the number 2 in the bottom right-hand corner of our pegboard. Remember, we're wanting to stay organized. You can see a little bit that the first drawing is slightly visible over the underneath the frame. And so we are just going to continue our smiley face and just scoot it down by about a fifth. You see, we know that we need to be at frame 5. By the time we reach frame 5, we know that we need to be down here in this area right here. So then, now that we have our first and our second frame, as you can see, it's bouncing down, we're going to go ahead and do our third frame. Again, since we are doing 10 frames total, we know that by frame 5, we should be down in the center. Okay, so now we're going to do our third frame, which again is just scooting a little closer down to the center. I like to emphasize, of course, that it doesn't really matter if your drawing or your ball is perfect, because no one's really all that perfect. Now that we have our third drawing, we are going to just repeat the same process until we get to our fourth drawing. Okay. And then now that we are at our fourth drawing, we know that we need to reach the bottom middle for our fifth drawing. So let's go ahead and do that. Again, we open up our pegboard and we put our paper in, close the pegboard, make sure that it is secure. And labeling is important. Okay, now that we are at the bottom, go ahead and do our thing. Now let's move on to frame 6. Really, it's just going to be like a mirror image of our first 5 frames. Now that the ball came down, the ball is going to start moving up. Again, open up your pegboard. Okay, now we are going to do frame 7. Frame 8. Frame 9. And then this is our last frame of animation. So we've gone 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and now we should be at 6, 7, 8, and 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So we are going to do our last frame, and it is going to be at the top right, because our first frame that we started was at the top left. So now I think it's important, now that we've done all of our progress, to see just what our movie looks like. Three, 4, 5, 6, 7, excuse me, 9, and 10. We'll go ahead and label that. All right, you guys, it's really just that simple. Super important. Just go home, tell your parents, and everything will be great. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.